it has been such a refreshing experience to have people genuinely excited about a tool, seeing value, truly right off the bat. It's been really fun. And I do really love what I do. But it's been fun to see people win and adopt, something that maybe they were a little bit uncomfortable with. We weren't afraid to try something new. Our reps weren't afraid to try something new. And I would say, to our audience, like, don't be afraid to try something new. We did, and we saw amazing success and have had a lot of fun, a lot of learnings. It has not been perfect. So let me be clear there. But it's been a very refreshing, rejuvenating experience for me, working with client sites.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live webinar with an amazing crew here. You're going to get to meet them in a second. My name is Eli Cohen, and I'm the CEO of SalesHood. And today we're talking about digital selling. We're talking about how SmartRecruiters was able to improve win rates, deal size, deal velocity by embracing digital selling in its go-to-market. And we can't wait to hear the story. And we've got three amazing speakers here, Caitlin, Brannan, we've got Shelby, Powell, and we've got Danica Grenard. And so I'm going to have each person just introduce themselves for a moment. And before I have Caitlin introduce herself, we have a long history. Sales enablement, SalesHood, we're 10 years old. SalesHood is a purpose-built sales enablement platform. And Caitlin and I met back in 2013, 2014, when she was at Good Data. And it was incredible because that was very early days for us at SalesHood, and we're really pioneering, and we were pioneering the enablement profession and the SalesHood system together. And so we're so grateful for this long relationship. And Caitlin is she's been in enablement for over a decade, and SmartRecruiters 9 years. So congratulations on an amazing career. And please, love for you to say hello to everyone, introduce yourself.
Of course. Thanks, Eli. Shelby and I have been on the other end of these webinars as attendees, and so it's really fun for us to share our story finally. So thank you for inviting us. Yes, a director of field enablement at SmartRecruiters. Yes, I have been there for 9 years, which is a lifetime. Started in product marketing and then moved my way into enablement, and obviously haven't left. It's been a mighty team of one, and now two with Shelby, and love what I do. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. We appreciate you very much. And again, love the partnership and like a decade-long partnership. And Shelby, a little newer to enablement, a couple years. So welcome to the world of enablement and first webinar. I love it.
Yes.
Shelby, please say hello.
Oh, of course. Hi, I'm Shelby Powell. I'm a revenue enablement manager here at SmartRecruiters on the mighty team of two with Caitlin, as we say. Funny enough, this is my first webinar, and it is also my 5-year anniversary today at SmartRecruiters. And that was on accident. I didn't actually know that when we scheduled this, Eli. Similar to Caitlin, hold many different roles, but actually before moving into enablement about 2 years ago, I was on our account management team handling our mid-market segment.
I love it. Congratulations on the 5 years. And I love the transition from account management and sales into enablement role. I think it's and with a nice balance of someone from product marketing. What a team. What a powerful team of two. I love it. I love it. And we're also here with Danica Grenard. And Danica, please say hello, our customer success manager extraordinaire, please.
Thank you. That's quite the introduction. My name is Danica Grenard. I'm a customer success manager here at SalesHood. I've been working with Shelby and Caitlin, and it's been such a pleasure. I had the opportunity to meet Caitlin last October during Multiplier, so it was great to be not on a virtual setting, but it's even better like a year later to be on a webinar with Shelby and just really see all the awesome work that the two of them have put in and the outcomes that we'll talk about today. So I'm excited.
Amazing. Great work, everyone. So before we dig in, please use the chat to share questions and comments, or you can share questions through the Q&A, and let's keep this interactive. We want to hear from you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're really excited to walk you through the story, and our agenda is the following. We're gonna hear from the SmartRecruiters team. They're going to walk us through kind of the company, what does SmartRecruiters do, how do they introduce digital selling into their go-to-market, and what are some of the benefits that they've seen. And then we're going to see a demo, which is truly amazing, a live demo. Thank you again, Shelby, for kind of putting something together. And then we're going to dig in and talk about some of their implementation best practices, training tips, lessons learned. They have an amazing story to share. And so, Caitlin, we're going to have you start. And I think for folks that aren't as familiar with SmartRecruiters, why don't you tell us a little bit about the company and and what you guys do?
Okay. So SmartRecruiters is an all-in-one hiring platform that helps companies attract great talent, select the right talent for their business, and ultimately hire them. Typically today, a lot of recruiters use clunky, hard to use ATS or applicant tracking software. And it just makes hiring like harder than it needs to be. And so SmartRecruiters offers a more modern, flexible, easy to use platform that helps recruiters move a little faster and hire smarter. We've got over 5,000 customers now, from SMB all the way to the enterprise, and they typically fall in 3 categories. So a lot of high volume hiring, so think retail, hospitality, lots of roles to fill at one time. We've got high scarcity, so think very niche hiring, and then high touch. So that's where we shine. As far as our go-to-market teams, there's about 75 client-facing roles now, and Shelby and we support them all.
That's great. Thanks. It's good to get context. Folks are always curious about the size of the company. And again, amazing. Congratulations. The company continues to grow and grow and grow. And kudos to you and the team. And it's great that they invest so much in enablement. So great model here. So tell us a little bit about, how you thought through your go-to-market and how you integrated digital selling and client sites with your go-to-market. And maybe tell us a little bit about some top use cases. We'd love to hear kind of some of that. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I'll start with the use cases. We're using them in 2 specific ways. So the first one is for new business. This is where our AEs and our solution consultants or sales engineers are partnering to create private sites for a specific prospect that they're working with. They're uploading targeted content that they're customizing based on discovery conversations they're having, demos that they're running, follow-ups that they need to use client sites for. They're sharing PDFs, they're sharing call recordings. It's just really one nice branded place for our prospects to access as follow-up and content that they may want to review post-conversation or post-call. So that's on the new business side, has allowed us to get an added layer of visibility into how often people are engaging with the content, which allows us both to optimize content and tell how interested a prospect is early on in the deal cycle. The second use case is more experimental for us right now. This is where our SDR team is using them from a prospecting perspective. They're creating what SalesHood calls a public site, and they're customizing it based on like high volume hiring, for example, or a vertical. So really targeted content. They're sending them via their email sequences. And what's cool about it is, as a recipient of that client site, it looks like it's just for me. I can't see anyone else in it, but it is a one-to-many motion on our end. And where our SDRs are traditionally checking open rates and click-through rates and emails, now they can see how long people are engaging with the content, if at all, and then how long. So it gives, again, that added layer of data and visibility to then figure out, okay, if this is a worthwhile prospect to pursue, where to spend my time, how to follow up, what other content to send, or that may be interested based on their behavior.
Wow. Okay. Those are 2 really powerful use cases. So one, you've got the traditional sales motion, right? Traditional B2B sales motion where you're taking collections of content and you are sharing it with prospects and you're helping progress deals through the pipeline. And I love it. And then the second one is prospecting. And I love that, the way you describe it as a one-to-many motion. So we're going to focus on the first one for a second. Tell me a little bit about, because you've been doing it longer. So what are some of the benefits that SmartRecruiters has realized? You shared some of them: visibility, personalized experience. How would you quantify some of the benefits?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can take this one. So we started running with client sites a little over 6 months ago. And I really actually wanted to recently send numbers to our executive team so they knew not just the anecdotal feedback that we were getting from AEs about how great they were, which Caitlin's going to touch on that, I think, a little bit later. I wanted to actually share them some stats. So I looked at deals within those 6 months that used a buyer site and did not. And what I found that you shared in the email was actually pretty great. And we're continuing to see that because it's been, I think, 1 or 2 months since I pulled those stats.
Yeah.
Those stats have held true. So our average deal lengths are 15% shorter when a client site is used. Our average deal size when a site is included in the deal cycle tends to be 4 times larger than those that don't use a site. And possibly my favorite, which someone else said in the chat, our win rates with a client site are 2 times higher whenever they're brought in early on in the process. Actually, just to talk about this, we had a recent large enterprise deal in our APAC region that closed. Shout out to them because they use our client sites the best out of anyone. Yeah, they really do. They closed a large deal recently, one that historically would have taken us over 18 months to close, and they did it in less than 12.
Okay, the stats are incredible, right? The stats are incredible. Congratulations. Wow. The win rates. So why do you think, I'm just curious, Shelby and Kelly, why do you think you said the Asia Pac team has embraced it more? Why do you think they've embraced it more? What's motivated them to lean into it more than other teams, for example?
Yeah, they are a team that maybe has the biggest FOMO of anyone in our company because they are over there on their little island. And they have a manager that really, really adopts new technology when it comes out and wants to be the first person to use it. So he's really pushed them to use it. They're actually one of the main use cases that helped me build our templates as well. So I think honestly, they're just a team that's really excited and really hungry when it comes to deals.
No, I love it. So by the way, I heard you say partner with a manager, find those early evangelists early. These are some great tips. I love it.
I can add to that. What's also very interesting about this story and refreshing as an enablement professional, I'm sure a lot of us on the call can understand or empathize with. A lot of our initiatives are top down, right? You're partnering with sales leadership, you're getting their buy-in, you're working on strategy. Then you're working with them to get buy-in from a very discerning group of AEs, right? And so it's a very kind of top-down heavy thing. This really was like a groundswell. It was truly a bottom-up. And so yes, APAC has our APAC team has run with it, but it started from our pre-sales team, our solution consultants, wanting to test how effective their micro demos are, which are like short demos on different areas of functionality in our product. And they came to us and said, do we have any existing tools that could help us determine how effective these new assets are? And we said, actually, yes, like client sites, let's partner and do some experimentation. And we did just like a little bit of training, which I think speaks to how easy the tool is to use. They brought their AEs in, AEs loved it. They're starting to use it on their own, create their own client site. So I think it also speaks to like really immediate value that AEs and SEs saw after using it. And our shout out to our APAC team. They're just a creative bunch, but we are using it globally. And so we've seen some really great adoption across all AEs.
No, that's great. We really amazing. So we're gonna dig into adoption. We're gonna dig into some of your training best practices and some of your implementation in a little bit. I think they're from a competitive standpoint. How do you think, I know the 2x win rates, is there anything anecdotally you could share about what maybe some of your customers are saying or what you're hearing in the field, how you're now comparing to the competition, given that you've got this motion working? I'm curious.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
I was just going to say, I think we always take a very sort of white glove approach, and certainly the APAC team shines there. And it just gives an added layer of this high touch feeling, right? Beautiful. It's like a very custom experience. You can chat within the client site. People are available, willing to help. And it makes it easy for the prospect too, right? They're not having to search through their email. everything's consolidated. So I think it adds, we pride ourselves in being real consultative in our sale. And that's just another tool for us to use.
I love it. The white glove is just a great metaphor. And I think it really helps up level how a salesperson engages with their prospects and customers. Shelby, what were you going to add?
Yeah, I remember early on in this process, when we started it with just a few, we did get feedback from one prospect that we were using it with, who was just so excited to see something like this because it was new to them. They were with other competitors and no one had given them anything like this. So when they were trying to find an asset that we shared or a call recording, they were searching their emails and searching keywords where the client site, they could just go in and find it because it was there and uploaded and ready within a few hours of us saying that we were going to get it to them.
No, it's great. And I know, Danica, you're also helping out a lot to help get it started. And we're going to get into that. So, hey, you know what? There's a question. And the question is, would it be possible to share an example of a site? And we've recently, by the way, and so Shelby, are you able? Are you comfortable? You want to show one?
Yeah, absolutely.
So while you're getting that ready, I'll just share just a little brief. We've taken a lot of feedback from our customers and from their customers, and we just made a name change, and it's actually live in the system now. So when we log in, you're going to see it, and we changed the name from buyer site to client site. Gartner and Forrester, they call this technology digital sales rooms. So we believe that we want to empower customer teams, success teams, sales teams to ultimately provide that white glove treatment to their clients. And so with the partnership with all of our customers, we've just recently renamed it. So you're hearing us say buyer sites and client sites. Just want to, we're in a transition phase, and I know I'm still saying it a couple of times in my head too. So, but Shelby, we'd love to see one if you're comfortable showing one.
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to bring up probably my favorite use case. Hopefully you all can see my screen now, but this is our new business buyer site template. So this is essentially what every single new business deal is using right now whenever they create a brand new buyer site. I'm just going to touch on some of my favorite parts that we built into the template, of course, with Danica's help, because I will be honest, I didn't know about tabs for a while. And then Danica said to me, wow, girl, way too much content on one page. Please use tabs. Keep me honest, Danica.
Yes. Shelby, this is URL. It's a live site.
This is a live site. It is a practice site, but it is live. It's
a live site, and this is it's a template. And okay, take it away. Sorry for interrupting.
No, perfectly fine. Some things that we have built into this template that I really love. We start with a welcome tab. This is where everybody is going to start. So when a prospect opens up this client site, this is where they're going to be taken. In our template, we have a reminder to AEs to come in and record a welcome video to introduce themselves, introduce the client site, let them know what's going to be on there, let them know how to use the chat functionality. And our AEs love it because they can just come in and click record on their video directly within the client site. So they never have to leave.
And that was Yoda behind there. I love it.
I love that one. Oh yeah, I forgot you can see because my mesh is not on them. Sorry.
It's all good. It was good, but really easy to record, Shelby, right? Really easy. So easy.
It's amazingly easy to record. And the A's love that because they don't have to download it and then upload it and add their own thumbnails. It's very simple for them. We then have some pre-built out tabs that are going to have different information, like all of those micro demos that we talked about, that are pre-built in because our teams use them very, very often, but they can still come in. They can change the order. Maybe they want to get rid of one of these. They're able to customize that. In addition, we have some of these tabs that you'll notice have no content. Now to the prospect, they're not seeing these. But on the back end, our AEs can see these, so they have a place that's already organized for them to upload things that they're going to need during the deal cycle, like any of their call recordings or down the line, pricing documentation.
Amazing. It's really remarkable. Really, it's a beautiful site, branded. Thank you for walking us through it. Danica, how hard was it to kind of set it up, and how did you guys collaborate to kind of bring the first one and the first few to life?
Yeah, so it was easy to set up. I know I met with Shelby a couple months ago. And she's like, all right, give me some tips and tricks. I have all these ideas. It's starting to pick up traction. How can I enable my teams to do this to the best of their abilities? So we hopped on a call, and one of the things like Shelby mentioned was tabs. And a lot of times I see my champions or my customers have incredible content that's so useful, but it's not organized. And what the tabs do is set the prospect up for success by finding that content quickly and not just clicking through and be like, oh, this is useless. There's too much in here, and disregarding the content because of that like exploration fatigue, essentially, of trying to figure out and getting frustrated. They can see the tabs across the top and go directly to the content that they need. And then one thing about Shelby's template is those tabs that have nothing in there are empty, which means on the receiving end, they can't see it, which is beautiful because it's going to continually guide her reps in the right direction to keep that site active, continue to engage in it, add those pieces of content. And then another thing too about that welcome message that we talked about when Shelby and I were collaborating is what would be appropriate in a welcome message that would really make an impact. And that is walking the prospect through the client site, talking about the tabs, giving them an idea about the chat function, how it's used. And it was great to collaborate with Shelby. She had all of the foundational ideas and a great start, just a couple fine-tuning tips and best practices. And she really ran with it. And that's why it's been so successful with what Shelby and Caitlin have done.
Great demo, great collaboration. So we got a personal, I'm going to just recap if I can. We got a personalized, video. You've got some assets. You've got some product micro demos. You've got call recordings, and we'll address some of the questions on links in a minute. What were some of the other tabs?
We have things like a tab that they can use later to upload pricing documentation. We have a customer story tab where we have customer stories built in, but they can pick the ones that match the prospect that they're talking to.
Oh my God, so great! So it really covers the whole life cycle of the customer's buyer's journey, right? It covers their buying, and you're guiding them, and it truly is white glove treatment because you're putting everything, and then the chat, and then how active is the chat for your teams?
It's been pretty active. Our team loves, I believe that this was a more recent functionality, but you're able to pull in a new asset and pull the link into the chat and send it out so they can go directly to the new asset in the chat. That's been a big one recently for our teams. But they see it being used a lot because all their conversation is in one place, the assets are in one place, so they don't have to go back to an email when they can just do it directly in the chat and it notifies them immediately.
This is really great. Before we dig in to the adoption and the implementation and the training, I want to go back to the business metrics, right? You talked about 15% faster win rate. We talked about 4x deal size. We talked about 2x win rates. So how did you do the math on that? Like, how did you know that the sites helped you improve? I know you explained it before, but now that we've seen the site, maybe just give a little more color on how you're doing, how the math works for you.
Yeah. So as I said, I love numbers. I have a lot of reports that I built on the back end in the report builder in SalesHood. We also have a pretty good numbers person within SmartRecruiters who likes to send me a lot of Tableau dashboards with a lot of our metrics over the past 5 years. So I know where we've stood. I can see how deals are progressing. So I use those stats. I had him kind of help me pull out all of the numbers that made sense so I can compare what my numbers in SalesHood were showing me versus what my normal Salesforce numbers were showing me for deals won during that time period.
No, that's amazing. And recently we added in the CRM insights.
Yes.
And so the CRM insights creates a dashboard inside SalesHood, and we're not going to show your dashboard because that's confidential and private, and we wouldn't do that. And but the CRM insights enables leaders, enablement folks to be able to see the pipeline influence, the revenue impact, and also the opportunities that are open. Danica, you want to talk about that a little bit? Do you know how that works?
Yeah, sure. So you can connect your opportunity to a buyer site. And it's really interesting to see how those unfold. And from a manager's perspective, they can look and sort the buyer sites by team and see and get an inside scoop with some data points on how their teams are doing, what's in the buyer sites, what are those prospects looking at. They have the opportunity attached, so you can do reporting on that. So it's just an extra layer of support and information that's going to help guide you on driving the deal forward with the buyer side. So it's been huge. It's really interesting to see those numbers across the top on your buyer sites, or sorry, client sites.
Yes, client sites.
I have to like practice this like new muscle memory. I'm working on it. But seeing it across the board, like how much pipeline has been influenced by buyer sites, how much revenue has been influenced by client sites. It's really interesting, and it's almost motivational too, to see there's so many opportunities. They're linked to buyer sites. People are engaging in the content, and what's going to happen. What's the impact of that?
I look at our CRM insights page almost daily, and I can see which of our renewals are going to happen. I can see which of our deals are progressing just by looking at the insight data, because everything that Shelby showed, the videos, the slides, the stories, the micro demos, there's engagement data that we're tracking, how much time we're spending on the videos, how much of the files have been viewed, and all that data becomes super interesting for leaders to be able to forecast and be able to just get a real sense of where the buyer's at in their journey. So super interesting. Wow. I go on and on. Wow. We're already, almost at half past here. Should we shift into adoption a little bit? What do you think? I'd love to hear, like, how did you get your teams to it? I know we talked about the Asia Pac team, but this is pretty widespread now at SmartRecruiters. So what were some of your best practices to get the teams to adopt? Who wants to take that one? Caitlin, you want to take that one?
I'll start. I think Shelby did a great job both providing a huddle itself. So I think training the teams are important, best practices. I think it was about less than 10 minutes, a pretty light lift. She also hosted live sessions. Again, shout out APAC. They wanted a live session. So she got on a team call, ran a quick enablement session on how to use it. But I think being available is a big one. You have to be an evangelist for this. Yes, we had great, tons of excitement internally that was very organic, but we also did a lot of promotion internally. So adoption, I think just having a plan on how to enable best practices and get people using the tool and being available to help as a support system.
No, beautiful. Shelby, anything to add? What else would you add?
Yeah, what I would add is we really worked to make sure that we had those templates or content packs that SalesHood has available on the back end. So it was a major time saver for our account executives, because let's be honest, they like to spend as little time as possible if they don't feel like it's actively progressing a deal. So if they don't have to build the site, if I can have that template on the back end, I think that really helped with our adoption, because they have something that they can quickly pull and start and send out almost immediately.
Great. And we've been focusing primarily on the sales execution use case of your reps, your sellers around the world using it to progress deals. We haven't really dove into the prospecting one, but this has been super, super interesting. Let me see, where do I want to go next? So from an implementation perspective, we talked about training, we talked about some adoption best practices. What other tips do you have around implementation, as for other companies thinking about going live with this? What would you give them some guidance right now?
Yeah, I have two main pieces of guidance, I would say. First,
good. I love it.
The system is simple, so you can keep it simple. Our reps loved it because it was so easy for them to get proficient with and start using the system quickly. And that meant that they were seeing impact almost immediately, which is great. Second, your SalesHood CSM, shout out Danica, will help you through the entire process. If I had a very little question, I could take that to Danica and she was going to get back to me. She was willing to have calls with me to just kind of brainstorm together, as someone who knew the system a little bit better than I did, of course. But really, you can lean on your SalesHood CSM.
I love it. Those are great tips. And Danica, what tips do you have for folks? What are some of your, if you're sitting down with someone that hadn't gotten started, where would you start? What would you tell them?
I really like Shelby's number one tip is just like keep it simple and making sure you prepare and set up your teams for success. So the more simple you can make it, the more simple the process of adoption is. And Shelby did that with the template. She started with, I think it was one regional template, and now you have like 2 or 3 now and are continuing to build those out. She listened to what her reps needed and wanted. She talked to those small group that really took off with buyer sites and said, hey, what's working? Why do you like this? What are you seeing? And then she took that information and continued to build upon what she's hearing from her reps, what I'm talking to her about when we hop on calls, answering her questions. And it just makes adoption so much easier when you're in an open collaborative space and you want to hear how things are working, not working, monitor and adjust accordingly.
Wow. I love it. The so we're almost there at the end here. And I wanted to give folks a little insight to what we're going to cover next. I'm going to give a little snippet of roadmap in a moment because we are adding in a chat GPT generative AI layer to our clients. I almost said buyer sites, to our client sites. And so I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Before I go there, it's clear the benefits, right? You're closing bigger deals, you're closing bigger deals faster, amazing. And it's really remarkable. This is why we asked you to speak. It's truly a great story. And really you are reshaping how sales leaders and organizations are engaging with prospects and customers, and you're on the forefront of modern selling. You really are, and kudos to you and your team. We did talk a little bit about other benefits around alignment, forecasting. Maybe you guys could share some of the non-quantifiable benefits, but truly impactful to the business.
Yeah, I'll start with one, and maybe this one technically I'm cheating a little bit because we can't quantify it, but I think just want to drill down a little bit on deal health. So this has been a really great tool for us. The level of engagement we have seen early on in the sales cycle has been a warning sign of either greatness or a warning sign of a red flag. Based on, again, their level of engagement, how often they're logging in, how often they're looking at content. It's a major indication of deal health and how likely a deal is to close. So our reps have been able to qualify out sooner, maybe than they would have. So they're spending their time much more efficiently. Knowing where to spend their time is huge. So they're not wasting time, right, on deals that have no chance. And so we've seen that on average, deals that we have won with a client site have 10x the level of engagement on content than deals that we have lost. So pretty significant ability for us to, again, spend our time wisely. So that's been pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. What about the sales leadership around the world? How have they integrated the data into their forecasting process?
Yeah, I think, in their one-on-ones, they're reviewing buyer site activity, they're reporting out on it. We're working on connecting the dots from different regions right now, but definitely at like a North America specific, APAC specific, they're talking about it between, managers and their AEs. It's part of their weekly one-on-one conversation.
Wow, that's great. Shelby, anything else to add on non-quantifiable benefits?
Yeah. I think one, and the reason we started it was all around assets, right? So a big one that we've seen is kind of asset health, I would call it. So our marketing team, our PMMs, demo innovation, which is the team that makes the micro demos, they have always been looking for a way to measure success of those assets better. So not just internally if our teams like them or use them, but how are our prospects and customers interacting with them? And they can see that in buyer sites. They can see how many times it's used, how many times it's viewed, how long it's viewed, if it's downloaded. They can then compare it month over month. So then they can see, are there some assets that maybe kind of dropped off? Do they need to refresh it? Is there one that has a lot of interest recently, and maybe do they need to make more? So it's really helping influence their roadmap when it comes to asset creation. And probably one of the biggest ones is just internal alignment. So not just singularly that deal team who's working on that one deal when we're talking about new business cases, but through the entire customer journey. Client sites can follow the whole way, and that's kind of where long term I think we're hoping we'll get to, is the client site can follow the whole way. So SDR starts with it. When it's time to move it on, they give it to the AE, and that client site follows to the AE. Then it can go through to the implementation team. Then it can go to customer success, and then they can get their QBRs and their renewals, all of it on one site. So the customer has the same experience.
Amazing transparency, amazing relationship building, and what a way to professionalize the experience that our customers have. This is why we did it. And I'm just going to read a comment here. Really nice view into SmartRecruiters implementation. Thank you to both Caitlin and Shelby for sharing their experiences. That was from Jay Hoffman. So you're getting a lot of kudos here. It's really, really, really great work. I got another question. And in the enablement world, we come in a lot with like training and certifications and messaging, and you got to do this and show up here, show up there. How does this program make you feel as an enablement leader, as an enablement practitioner, compared to like all the other stuff that you've been doing over the years?
Yeah, I think I alluded to it a little bit earlier. Like, it has been such a refreshing experience to have people genuinely excited about a tool, seeing value, truly right off the bat. It's been really fun. And I do really love what I do. But it's been fun to see people win and adopt, something that maybe they were a little bit uncomfortable with. We weren't afraid to try something new. Our reps weren't afraid to try something new. And I would say, to our audience, like, don't be afraid to try something new. We did, and we saw amazing success and have had a lot of fun, a lot of learnings. It has not been perfect. So let me be clear there. But it's been a very refreshing, rejuvenating experience for me, working with client sites.
That's phenomenal. And Shelby, you're getting love, all caps, the full client life cycle share and visibility. Great vision there. And yeah, so I love the refreshing language there. Caitlin, what would you add, Shelby? How does it make you feel? How's it been working with the teams with this program?
It's been wonderful. I think this is the first time that I've had, our AEs, our SDRs coming to me, begging me to give them more and to help them build more. So it's very great. Instead of giving them something, they're coming to me asking for it, which is completely different. In my 2 years in enablement, it's a complete change. And honestly, I love it. All caps love it, as I will say.
All caps love it. It's a remarkable story. And I know, I even watched some of the LinkedIn posts from your team members that were congratulating you on LinkedIn and saying it's great to see the success story celebrated. It really is. And so grateful that you walked us through kind of the detailed story here and great collaboration with Danica. There's something I want to, and we'll come back to kind of your final tips in a second. Before we go there, I want folks to appreciate, we're working very closely with many companies and many teams, and we are listening to salespeople. What Shelby just said, their teams are begging for more, and what Caitlin said, it's a refreshing experience, and folks are winning, and they really are, and the win rates, the deal size, the deal velocity is just the beginning. But some feedback we've collected over the last little bit has really inspired us to kind of continue, right? It's a powerful site. It's amazing, really easy to use, easy to record the videos, easy to add content, easy to share, easy to chat. It's like, wow, it's just like, where have you been all my life? And so one specific thing, there was a question in the chat earlier, was how does this integrate with Gong and Zoom? And so I want to share a little bit of, because you saw the call recordings tab in there. And so what our customers are doing today is they're either sharing a link to a Zoom or a Gong, which is fine. There's a link, you can view it, or some folks are even downloading and uploading, not as efficient. And so I want to give folks a sneak peek. So little drum roll here, but we're going to be rolling out in the next few weeks the generative AI ChatGPT inside of client sites. And it's going to be based on private LLM model, and it's going to be based on which is really important, not in the open API, not in the open GPT. And we're going to take the one click. So a seller, customer success person will be able to go from a Zoom call, press a button, add it to a site. So just think about that. Like that was the number one thing all of our customer sellers that we've been interviewing have been asking us for. Like, hey, can we just one click that? Because there's got to be a better way. So huge win right there, just to kind of make it be a one click to bring in the calls, right? So far, we're doing good. How do you guys like that one so far? Boom, again, thumbs up. Now, where we're going, and then in the same release, we're going to transcribe the call, which is incredible, which I love transcribing the call. So now folks can come in, they can search, for a specific, because a lot of times the buyers and the decision teams will come in post meeting and they'll rewatch some parts of the demos. They'll rewatch parts of the meeting just to verify, validate what they heard was correct, which is really important. So that's a big engagement area. But what we're going to do is we're transcribing the call, and we are going to provide a call recap summary, and we're going to provide an email follow-up to the sales and customer success folks. It won't get you 100% of the way there, but it's going to get you 80, 90% of the way there. So Danica, I know we've said this before, no excuses to not get those emails out. So we'll provide the detailed summary, current situation, problems, impacts, ideals, whatever the specific format or template is, with next step actions. So that way a seller, a success person can then very easily share the site with the recap email. And we're so excited that we're layering in the ChatGPT generative AI, and we're calling that an AI assistant that's going to be embedded inside of the client sites technology. So I want folks to appreciate what's coming in the next few weeks. But how does that sound to everyone?
Sounds great.
It's gonna be awesome.
We're really excited. And so, but everything that we showed you in the demo, everything that Shelby walked through is available today. And in a follow-up, we will send links to some demos so you can go through it on your own. Wow, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we wanted to cover that is important for folks. We covered a lot, folks. Let's just do a quick recap. SmartRecruiters is on a tear. And, hugely competitive market, but differentiating yourself when it comes to your go-to-market, your white glove treatment. You're seeing amazing win rate improvement, deal velocity improvement, deal size, and kudos to you too for embracing client sites and making it available to your teams and fueling it with rich content like stories and micro demos. And I'm going to take a moment, just applaud you too, because it's a remarkable story. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing it. Before we leave, we'll do questions. So we'll open up the floor to questions. But before we leave, I thought I'd ask you, what final tips or advice would you give someone as they're thinking about leaning into client sites or digital selling with their teams? What advice would you give folks? And I'll let either of you start first.
Yeah, I think I'll start. My best advice is you don't have to do it all at once. You can start small. That's what we did. Pick 1 or 2 use cases, pick a specific team, maybe really get everything prepared for them. So assets, templates, training, whatever it is. Because once you can get them up and running, the system's going to sell itself to them. They're going to sell the system to everybody else. And then you can start building on top of it as more and more use cases or more and more teams start picking it up.
Great advice. Caitlin, what would you add?
I would just say, it can feel daunting to maybe adopt something new or feel it out of your comfort zone. But remember that you're not alone. Shelby and I are here to support, and we would love to collaborate. I'm sure we can learn so much from you too. Remember that you have resources, certainly your CSM, certainly SalesHood, but I think also the SalesHood community. I definitely tap into it on the regular. So we're here to help.
We're here to support each and every one of you. So if you want to get started, just let us know, and we can get you set up with your own hood, and you can start leveraging client sites with your business. And like this amazing team said, pick a team, pick a use case, pick a geography, and pick something and test it out. And we'd love to show you the future of selling, the future of modern selling. So thank you to the team of SmartRecruiters. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Danica. Thank you for your insights and your knowledge and your experience and taking time out of your days to share with us your story. And congratulations. So everyone, let's give them a big round of applause and we'll sign off in a few minutes. But thank you, everyone.